Voila. What is going to come in the kit when you order it from us? Obviously, first things first is our billet aluminum Fairlead design, so that way it's got nice rounded edges, no snagging, no anything on your synthetic rope. These are made in-house on our CNC. Do a little cut shot to that being made for you. Also in the kit, going to come this synthetic rope. Attached to the synthetic rope is going to be your mounting screw. Do not lose that. That's going to be pretty essential later on in the installation process. This is 50 feet of synthetic rope rated at 10,000 pounds. The next parts that are going to come with is your rubber stopper and of course larger tow hook, winch hook. The larger ones are going to allow you to clamp onto a couple bigger things. The stock ones are a little bit smaller, kind of limits on what you can attach yourself to when you're winching out, but that'll come in that kit. Also, if you were looking at a way to attach this, you know, a lot of times this is just dangling there. If you have your winch mounted on a winch bumper or anything like that, like this no limit winch bumper here, you can see here we have our little attachment, billet attachment loop down where the winch was mounted, because now the winch is up inside the bumper here. So normally the OEM, the winch is mounted down in the bottom, but in this case you can attach it there, or you can always still attach it down on the bottom. It's just a little bit harder to get that bigger hook on there. So we do offer these plates as well. So that's just an option of the kit. So at this point, we will go through the installation process, show you how to pull all the old stuff off, and install all this new shiny stuff. One last thing before we actually get into the install process, I wanted to mention that these synthetic rope kits will work on all of the OEM winches that come on the Can-Am UTVs. So whether you have Maverick Sport or Trail, Commander, Maverick X3, Defender, the process is going to be the same for replacing the cable for the most part. It's just going to depend on your machine where the winch is located. Is really going to be the only difference in the process. Also, the Fairlead is a 6-inch spacing, so any bumper or anything that you would have on your machine, make sure that that's a 6-inch center to center distance. It should be, but some companies use oddball stuff sometimes, so want to make sure that's right before you go ahead and purchase. Alright, so now over at the machine here, you can see we have this really nice looking no limit front bumper on here. Super good build quality, everything, and we're gonna make it look even better now once we get that new Fairlead installed on here. If you don't have a bumper or have everything mounted in the stock location, you're going to be working right down here by where this pull hook is. Basically these bolts that mount the Fairlead here are going to be these bolts down here. So whatever we're doing up here, you're just going to replicate down here for your stock setup. To start off, we'll go through the tools here. We're going to use little vice grips to work on getting this pin out of the tow hook here. And then you're going to need a 15mm wrench. That's going to be for the bolts on the back side, or the nuts on the back side of these bolts that hold the Fairlead on. And that Fairlead is going to be an 8mm Allen for those Fairlead bolts. So first things first, we're going to go ahead, put this into free spool. Just pull this out a little bit, give us a little extra room to work. Go ahead and push this back a little. And then we're going to go ahead and take, you can either use, like this is a small enough clip here that you can just use your fingers just to bend that out of the way. Then pull it out. I'm going to remove the pin. then remove the hook. That'll get all that stuff out of the way. You can either reuse that or use the hook that comes in the kit. It's completely just your personal preference. Then we're gonna go ahead, use our ratchet and our wrench here. Wrench is on the back side to hold the nuts. Pull that out of there. And be careful not to drop your nut on the back side like I just did. So I'll have to fish that out of there. But then you're going to do the same thing to the other side and then basically pull this Fairlead straight off the cable. Alright, so now you can see we got the Fairlead off. Clean this up a little bit. Fairlead's off. We're going to want to save these bolts. We're going to reuse them in our Fairlead there. So set these off to the side for reuse. And then at this point, with it in free spool, just go ahead and yank all this cable out of here. If you're replacing your cable because it's frayed or damaged or anything, either wear gloves or just be kind of aware of where you're grabbing so that way you don't snag your hands all up. So I'll get this pulled out of here. And alright, now on this OEM winch, we have everything pulled out as far as it'll go. You can see right in there that it is fed back through the center spool. So we're going to want to get this back through there, kind of slack up those extra coils. And then once you get that, then we have to rotate this into position. Alright, so now we got this rotated around. We can kind of see where, right down in here, that's where we were looking at, where it was coming through the spool. And then it comes back out on the top side there. And then it coils around a couple times. And then it's actually locked back into the center of the spool by that set screw right there. So I'm going to take this set screw all the way out because we're not going to reutilize that. And this is a 2.5 millimeter Allen. Take that out, set that up there so we don't lose it, even though we're not going to use it. Don't need stuff flying all over. And then we're going to go ahead and rotate the spool back around, pull that end out closest that was being held by that set screw. We're going to pull that out, then we should be able to get these windings undone and then pull everything straight back out through. Alright, so pulled this, got this back around to where this very end loop goes through the spool. I'm going to just take a flathead screwdriver, put it in there, pull that end out, and then just go ahead and get the rest. This pulled all the way through, and then you can go ahead and get rid of that. And then you're going to want to rotate that drum back around so that way you can access where that bolt was, that set screw was, because we're going to utilize that position to lock in the new winch cable. Alright, so now at this point you go ahead and grab the socket head cap screw that came in the kit and you can cut your Fairlead apart. This red section here is the one that we're going to be attaching to the spool. Basically this is the indicator of, you know, don't pull your winch cable out any farther for risk of damaging this, pulling it off, what have you. So we're going to take this, you can see the hole on our spool here, basically just going to bolt that right onto that spool. Alright, so now that we got that on there, if you want to, you can take a punch or a flathead screwdriver or something, just kind of bend that sleeve around the spool a little bit. That way it's not, you know, flat against a round surface. Might help in the long run with snagging or rubbing or anything like that. And then from that point, then you can just go ahead and coil the winch cable back up on the winch. So put it back into manual or into, you know, locked in And you can go ahead and hit the switch, spool this back up, leading this back and forth, laying it nice across, back and forth, so that way it's not gonna overlap or get pinched or anything like that as you pull it in. Alright, so now we got the winch rope pulled in. I left it hang out a little bit just to give us a little bit more playing room as we're gonna attach the rest of the parts. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab our Fairlead and our bolts, stick that through there, comes right up like that, and you go ahead and reinstall your bolts the same way you did as you pulled them out. Alright, so now we got bolts tightened up, holds the Fairlead, it's all in place. Next step is going to be to install either the rubber spacer that came stock or the one that comes in the kit. In this case, we're actually going to be hooking this onto the pull plate, so we're not going to use this big one. We're just going to put the stock small one back on there, just less bulkiness. So fit this back onto the rope, make sure the sleeve is pushed through here so that way it doesn't get all bound up. Straighten that back out a little bit. Then we're going to go ahead and grab our center pin and our cotter pin, that through there, pin through the hook, put your cotter pin through, go ahead and just bend those ends, cotter pin around, voila, put that there for safekeeping and all set to go. So that's full installation. If you guys ever need any other products, comment down below what you want to see us do and we'll get you taken care of. Safe riding, everybody.